Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to race 4 of 13 here with the Moonlight Racing League Wednesday night Xfinity Series live on YouTube, courtesy
Minute
of
45, 1-1
MLR
qualifying.
Broadcasting. I'll be with you tonight, G Money, along with my tag team partner, Kevin Kyle KK, down in the pits. What an exciting intro as we see the jets flying overhead here in Milwaukee, getting ready to go into race 4 of our 13 season regular season. What an exciting night as we get ready for some racing here this evening. KK, how are we doing tonight?
Hold on. Oh, hey, thank you, Mean Gene. Sorry about that. Just trying to get these audio things figured out, but it's our first broadcast back after a long hiatus, but doing great there, sir. Mean Gene, glad to be with you. It's a privilege and honor to be sitting in the booth next to you, sir.
I'll tell you what, we're ready for some exciting racing as we're looking at these points heading into tonight's race. Our point leader, David Owens, Mr. Zero Chill himself, 137 on top. He's got no wins, but those 33 stage points really carry him along with his one stage win. And that's something that we're going to see all night, KK. The wins are great to get you points, but where you really score those points is in those stages. And that's the most exciting part of stage racing. And we're going to see that tonight as we've got two stages, one at 45 laps, one at 90 laps in this 140 lap race. Other favorites we have to look at. Number 2 in the points, Joseph Amato, 3 points behind. Matt Tucker, third, 8 points behind. Robert Babcock, this is a guy to watch. He's 11 back. Colin Bollinger, Nate Maurer, the defending champion, only 27 back. And I'll tell you something great about Nate Maurer. He's only got 2 starts this year. Only 2 starts, and yet he finds himself only 27 points behind Brian Dawson, the top 7 drivers that we're going to be looking at tonight. Can you tell me something about these top 7, KK? Who are we looking at going into this event?
Top 7 on the I'm going to give you the top 7 on the qualifying board here, since that's all I really got at my hand there, Mean Gene. But right now I'm seeing the number 55 of Jared Kelly. He's popping up right now with a top 5 time. He ran a 30.938. And it's something to keep an eye on. He hasn't been a regular here in this league, but he's making an appearance here. Heard because of the broadcast tonight. So shout out there to Jared.
It is exciting to hear when we have all these new faces. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in joining, you can reach out to one of our admins, David Owens, Joe Volpis. These are some of the people. Reach out and they can get you connected. So again, KK, we said this is race 4. Let's look at some of the winners of our previous races. Week 1, we were in Atlanta. Hunter Manley comes through strong with the win. Week 2, Texas, Nate Maurer, defending champion. He gets the win. And then week 3, Sonoma, Colin Bollinger. He gets the win. Another name I want to throw out there, even though he didn't get the wins, Bryson Dodson. This man's had 2 poles so far, and he is on fire. Somebody we're definitely going to be looking at. I'm looking at some of these qualifying results coming up, KK. Looks like Joe Volpis is going to be on the pole. That might be another name that we need to watch out for tonight. He is a veteran.
Oh, yeah, Mean Gene. Joseph is a talent to be withhold everywhere he goes. Any car he gets in, he's always up there at the top battling it out. And Mean Gene, just to give you a heads up on our track temp, it's a 69 degrees, 83 degrees track temp. So really cool track. Times are going to be really fast, and it looks like over half the field decided not to qualify, or they got into the wall. So see how that turns out. But yeah, we had 12 drivers make a qualifying lap. So hopefully we have some good green flag racing here. That's how it goes.
Is it not amazing? You run practice, you're putting down hot laps. 30.770 is the pole today. But you're putting down laps, you're probably pushing 30.8, 30.9, and then when you qualify on those fresh tires, it just slips and slides, puts you in the wall. I see movement down on the track, KK. Looks like that pace car is starting to roll, and Joe Volpis is leading these guys around turn 1.
Yeah, Gene, you got it correct, man. That pace car is off. These guys are ready to get this parade lap over with, and we got 1 to green, so looks like those pace car lights are off, and he should be getting off on coming off of turn 4. They'll be getting ready to go green flag racing here.
You know, that front row is interesting with the 98 of Joe Volpus, the 56 of Matt Novella. Those two guys, 11th and 13th in points, but they are one of the top stage point collectors. Those two guys tied for fourth. So even though they haven't got the win, they collect a lot of stage points. Very competitive racers. And in a field this large, we're looking at 21 drivers tonight. I think we might expect a little bit of contact, so it might be a battle of attrition to see who's going to come out of this one on top.
Right, me and Gene, as we got Barney, the flag man, ready to bring these guys the green flag, hitting the Geico restart zone. Here they come.
And here we go, and we are off and racing as Volpus is going to lead them into turn one here at Milwaukee. 30.7 was the qualifying pole, and we'll see what kind of lap times these guys are putting up as we see them still side by side. And now Volpus pulls ahead of Novella as those two cars are trying to pull away from David Owens. As we look back further in the field, after the top three, we see some side-by-side racing, three wide actually at one point, with Amato, McWhorter, and Steve Lewis, Fast Louie, all side-by-side, almost four wide, as we see Volpus. Oh, we've got a caution on the track.
Early caution there, Mean Gene. Well, what transpired there, if you could let me know?
Well, let's take a look here. I see a couple. Andrew Bolander not with the time.
And also, Mean Gene, throw me out a number there too when you say the names.
Let's take a peek. Well, Hunter Manley finds himself in the pits.
Okay,
Not sure if he was the guy that was involved in that. And he is suddenly one lap down.
Let's take a look, see if we can find it there.
Everyone else appears to be up close at first. Calibrating these times.
Okay, I found it here. Right, it is the 9:59. Going to go ahead and rewind it here a little bit. See, it looks like he just gets loose there, Mean Gene.
Technology at its finest. So here we go. You see him coming up. There's one car going high, four cars going low, and that 69-degree temperature, it might have encouraged him to go a little fast. Ooh, somebody was kind of close to the 959 as we see him go around. Was there a little contact there? Oh, into the water barrels as well. That's going to leave a mark.
All right, Mean Gene, I'll get us back here to live. Exactly where we are.
I do see a few cars going into the pit. Makes you wonder, did they take damage or it's too soon to take tires, wouldn't you say? They do have 5 sets, one on the car.
Yeah, too soon, Mean Gene, but I think it's going to be more about a fuel strategy here, since we were told 40 laps to make in a fuel stint, and they need to get to lap 45 for their first stage. So this early caution, if you top off now, you should be able to make it to the end of stage 1.
I mean, hey, if you're not in the top 15, you might as well come in, get that top off, and see if you can start playing this fuel strategy game a la Joey Logano with that big win with fuel strategy just a few races ago in the Cup Series. Ought to be interesting. Those top names at the top, you still see Volpus, Novella, and Owens as your top 3. Caspere, the rookie, is in 4th, and Alex McWhorter is going to round out your top 5. Still coming around here under caution in Milwaukee as we are only a few laps into this race. Remember, it is 45 laps to that first stage of our 140 lap race here today with the Wednesday Night Xfinity League, brought to you by the Moonlight Racing League.
Yeah, I mean, Gene, and those pace car lights are still on, so we got another time around this track. But feel free to take a break, take a breath, and we can just kind of watch the cars go around.
I like that paint scheme on that pink purple car right there.
Which number there?
Couldn't quite get a look at him. He's right behind the, is that Bolander? Right behind the 57. Yeah, that 53 right there.
You're live
Colin
too
Bollinger.
there. Mean Gene, we can hear you still. We're still live there.
He has got a nice paint scheme. Got that number 8 of Bolander right behind him, running that old Dale Earnhardt scheme, that old Wrangler scheme. That's a pretty car as well. Pretty nice to see the combination of original paint schemes and shout-outs to past drivers.
Yeah, great eye there, Mean Gene. Great catch. My favorite car is always the number 5 of Chris Smorrell. I love that. Air Force themed number 5.
Oh, that is pretty. Look at that. Also see Amato running a Jeff Gordon scheme on that 28. That's pretty too. The old Rainbow Warrior. All right, so we're starting to see them line up. The pace car is off, hammered down, and we are going live racing here again in Milwaukee. Volpus leading the pack, trying to get a push away, and then Novella and Owen side by side behind them. And once again, KK, we see that push. Those top 3 drivers just seem to get a jump, and they have a little bit more confidence at the beginning of the run, and they get that space. I mean, we're looking at a 5, 6, 7 car space between those top 3 cars and then the rest of the field.
Yeah, push off the start is always super important there, and sorry to everyone watching. I got a little behind on where I was, but we're back to live racing now. So sorry about that. First broadcast jitters there.
And we see Amato trying to keep up with that second pack. He's got Casabere just outside him. I know the 15 is going to go a little bit high coming out of that turn, and that's going to cost him some lap position, some spaces.
Yeah, Gene maybe got a little faster on entry, but yeah, let's take a look. Let's watch him again. Oh, now he's going to try the inside line there, Gene, under the 28 of Amato.
Yeah, that was a nice crossover. I guess that outside lane, it can work, because that's pretty much what we saw if you can keep the grip. He might be playing with something that we can see come into effect later. Saves the tires and finds the speed. And the top 3 is staying consistent. I'm sorry, go ahead, KJ.
Oh, no, I was just saying, especially in this track, how flat it is. You can see there's not a whole lot of banking. There's a little bit of banking, but not a whole lot, so drivers are going to really have to modulate that throttle off the exit. Have throttle control so they don't get loose off the exit and burn up that rear.
I'll tell you what, for me personally, when I first made that jump from console racing to PC racing, that was one of the biggest problems that I had. NASCAR 5 feet, you can just drop the hammer and wiggle the wheel. This right here is very delicate, and it keeps track of how fast you're coming in, and especially coming through the center of that turn, finding your apex. You'll wear those tires out real fast and get slick after about 10 laps if you're not in control of that vehicle. Nice battle here between the 28 and the 15 as these guys seem to be going back and forth.
A little bit further behind them, Jared Kelly's in that other second group, you could call it. There's the 55, the 6. It's like Kyle Lynott in the 988. A couple cars as Jared Kelly holds onto that P6 position at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You can see right behind that 55 of Kelly, you can see a nice line of about 6 cars deep. Casabere, Lynott, Walton, and Roberts, all single file. Start to see a lot of cars running single file here as these drivers are finding their pace. Milwaukee, 1 mile track, 4 turns, as we see these men starting to find their rhythm. And they're spreading out. A lot of drivers trying that outside lane. I don't know if it's to save tires or perhaps they're getting slick at this stage of the race. But it is nice to see more than one lane opening up.
As we take a look here at the 6, he's trying the outside line on Kyle Lynott in the 988. He's trying to make it work. He's going to have to fall back in line, doesn't clear the 988. And let's see what he thinks of this time coming back in the turn.
He is going to stay high on him, and as he's trying to push it, this might have been why they were practicing earlier, and he does let off as we see the rookie hold his position against him. Casabere holding his line.
Yeah, now the 6 is falling back into more trouble now. Let's see if he's going to keep bleeding positions as that number 23 car looks underneath him and it's going to maybe take that position away from the 6. Seems like that lower
Sean
line
Walton
is prevailing.
Yep, Sean Walton's going to go under him, and it looks like Robert Richards in that 99 is trying as well, but the 6 cuts him off. Oh, the 99 back under him again. Some really hard racing, clean racing also, as we watch these 3 men coming around. Oh, he pushes that orange Ford right up in front of him, and finally the rookie Casberry gives up that position. 99 not done as he is hunting that 23. Richards wants to get under Walton, but Walton is not going to give it up easy as we're back here looking at the battle for 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, he really gets off a good exit. 23 does, and is able to drive away from the 99, but we'll just see how this battle continues to unfold as the race continues here.
I think something else to watch is, can the 951 of Chris Cornett creep up into that pack, and that'll let you know if this racing is costing them time or actually giving them time, as you can kind of see that 951 just in the back of that camera shot.
Yeah, 951, Chris Cornett, that name sounds familiar. I believe I made Chris Cornett a trophy for another league, so you have a champion from another series joining the ranks here as a rookie. You see any 3-digits numbers here in the field, that means they are still a rookie. After 3 races, they get their 2-digit number. So something to keep an eye out as you're watching the broadcast.
I'll tell you, that's one thing you can guarantee with iRacing is almost every one of these drivers is a champion in one of their previous leagues. All of the iterations of NASCAR heat that we've seen gave everyone that opportunity to figure out how to run in a pack and also how to lead when they get that opportunity. So most everybody's got that championship experience. It's just a matter of getting that lap time, that track time here at the iRacing level, so that they can figure out how these cars work, especially with the air and the wear on these tires.
They're about 3 wide here, the 55 to 28, and Kyle Lynott coming out of the exit of that turn as they fall back in line. Looks like that outer line had the momentum, but now here comes Jared Kelly diving underneath. Going to get Joe Amato. Joe Amato way up the track. Can he get a good run off exit? He is not. I don't believe he's not going to be able to hold on to that. As
he's going to be in trouble.
Yep.
Ooh, look at him slide back in. Oh, my word. You got to say, Jared Kelly, good driving as he clearly let off the throttle to avoid that accident. And Kyle Lynott in that 988, also part of that mess. That's 55 of Jared Kelly. He got a good run and started to push away, trying to chase down Alex Porter. And then we can look back at these other guys. And once again, we do see the 28 of Amato going high on the track. It makes me wonder, is he looking for something or is he just having trouble coming in?
I feel like he's got something there. I just think he needs to be a little more consistent in nailing his points, and that high line will probably work for him. I think he's just trying to get used to hitting his spots, and maybe it'll come in for him.
He better figure something out quick, because we watched him give up 3 positions, and he suddenly finds himself fall back into the 8th spot after starting in 6th. Robert Richards is still on his backside. We'll see as Richards actually gets by Amato here, and Amato trying to chase him back down.
All right, let's take a quick check-in with our leaders there, Mean Gene. And we got David Owens right now out front in that pink and yellow number 11 car, looking good in that Ford Dark Horse Mustang. Position number 2 is going to be to Matt Novella in the number 56. That nice multicolored number 56 looking pretty good there. And then Joseph Volpis, our leader on pole, he drops down to E3, but not too far away. And that's these three had that big jump right at the beginning, had a nice gap, 5-7 car gap. But we see Owens now running more consistently and Novella staying with him, as it looks like Volpis is slowly heading back toward the rest of the group. Alex McCorder, Jared Kelly trying to reel him in. Yeah, right now, me and Gene, this is probably our hottest battle on track, I believe, if I'm looking correctly. Yeah, about a half a second in front of Jared Kelly, and he's about a half a second behind Joseph Volpis at the moment. Everyone else is kind of getting strung out.
To look back a little bit further, if you want to see a bit of a race, I see Richard Swingle trying to chase down, of the 97, trying to chase down Christopher Knott. These two guys are dancing back and forth with the rookie Stephen Neal right behind them.
Great call out there, Mean Gene. Way to pick up that battle.
those men in the back, they're still fighting for position too. I mean, this is a long race. There's a lot of rubber to be worn and a lot of gas to be burned. So as long as you stay on that lead lap, you're in good position. 2 cars, unfortunately, not on the lead lap. You're looking at David Cook, who is 7 laps down, and then Hunter Manley. Oh, that is quite unfortunate, considering Hunter Manley was in one of our previous winners at the opener in Atlanta. Suddenly that race winner finds himself 22 laps down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at least he's got that win in the bank. I don't believe it is winning your end, but the stage points from that will hopefully offset, and the bonus points from that will offset some of these troubles he's having now. But yeah, not a good day for Hunter.
And that's true. You mentioned those stage points. Again, 10 points if you win a stage. You win 2, that's 20. And those stage points, you want to talk about how important they are. If you look back, week 1, Hunter Manley won, but he was 4th overall in points. So even if you're winning the race, if you don't back it up with those stage points, you can find yourself quickly behind that 8 ball. Look how close these 2 drivers are. This is a really exciting race we've got right here, looking at that Realtree Chevrolet.
Yeah, we're on board with the number 5 of Chris Morrow. I saw him leading this pack of cars, so just trying to get a onboard view of what it might look like from his rearview mirror.
It's nice, and he's got that 8 chasing down right after him of Andrew Bolender and Robert Babcock, the Rooster, trying to get into this battle as well. Really smooth racing. We had that early caution, and then after that we've seen a lot of green flag racing here in Milwaukee, as these drivers have all seemed to have found their groove, and we're seeing a lot of single file until they get close. And you know, something I've noticed, KK, is when we see a driver make a move, especially on that high side, if he doesn't get by clean, he's going to lose 2 or 3 positions. So you can't play around here. There's not a lot of time or room for experimentation. You got to make a decision, and you got to follow through.
Yeah, I mean, Gene, well said. Especially if you find yourself in a line like this. Let's say the 5 tries to make a move, and on the car in front of him is not able to clear, then he's going to get railroaded by the whole line getting underneath him. So, got to pick your spots and make sure you can make the pass really, most efficiently as you can.
I'll tell you what, speaking of picking your spot, if we go back to the front and take a look at Owens and Novella, these 2 guys are really starting to heat up this track. Owens trying to put in smooth times, and you can see Novella poking his nose left and right, trying to figure out if he can actually get by the leader. Joe Volpus kind of fell off that pace, and he's lost another position now to the 15 of Alex McQuarter.
Yeah, let's see. David Owens last ran a 32.379, 379, and that's the fastest lap there on that lap, I believe. As he now hit a 325. I'm going to try to see anyone else run anything similar to that, but...
Well, I am not surprised at all to see Owens running one of the fastest laps. He's got a lot of experience. He was one of the first drivers that I saw really make that jump to iRacing full time, and he had a lot of hours on the track before many of these other drivers made that transition.
Here's Matt Novella now getting a little bit closer.
Novella is smelling it, and both of these guys have a lot of incident points as well. That's something that we haven't talked about, but they're still finishing at the top, which means their incident points usually come from the front of their bumper. So if you see Novella get close enough to David Owens, it would not shock me at all if he pulled himself a little bit of Austin Dillon, Joey Logano surprise, trying to get by Mr. Zero Chill David Owens.
Now, Mean Gene, how did David Owens get that nickname of... What's his nickname now?
Zero Chill, because this man has ice water running through his veins. He does not get nervous, and we've got a caution on the track.
Mean Gene, we got another caution on the track. All right, well, you see it? Let me know what it was, because I'm trying to find it right now.
I am not surprised at this point. You know, we're talking about 35 laps for fuel, but no one has talked about tires. How much time you need on these tires, especially when you see these guys running side by side. Now, nobody is really off the pace yet, so I'm not sure where that caution actually erupted. I don't see anybody hiding in the pits.
All right, let's see if I can find it real quick. Give me a second.
Do you see what car number that is that might have touched him?
I think it's the 53 there, Mean Gene. If is there a 53?
Oh yeah, Colin Bollinger. He might be part of this. Bollinger just won at Sonoma last week, so that is one of your big players. He's 5th in points.
Yeah,
I guess he had enough of following this man.
Get another shot of it.
I mean, it looks like Amato was just a little bit off of the pace because you could see the car in front of Amato pulls away and he's lower. So he's going faster than Amato into that turn. And it looks like Amato, not used to running that top line, might not have had quite as much momentum as you see Bollinger just kind of smash right into him. Now, who is that underneath that 951 of Chris Cornett? Remember, the champion from another league.
Let's take a look at it at full speed just to get a sense of the speed.
Yeah. See Cornett on the bottom, and he's got that bottom lane running good. Amato in the middle. Oh, yeah, it looks like he stayed high when he should have cut low. And then he just had a hole run through him by Bollinger there. That's some racing for you.
All right, Mean Gene, I believe I am back to live. I got him on lap 35, 155, stage cautions in 10 laps. So let's see if we had any movers or shakers here.
Well, again, no quick repairs here today, so if Amato's going to need to bring that car in for any repairs, it's going to take the full length of time to get it fixed. He hasn't come into the pit yet. I'm still showing him running in 20th on that lead lap.
Let's take a look.
21 cars on the lead
He didn't look
lap.
like he had too much damage. Looks like he just got it spun, maybe flat spotted the tires a little bit, but I think so close to the stage. Gonna send it. All right, track temp looks like it's getting a little bit hotter, or no, it just dropped to 90 degrees. So just giving you guys a sense of how hot it is. 7-degree temperature, 9-degree track temp.
And we've run 35 of your 45 laps here of stage 1. 10 to go. I wonder if any of these drivers in the back would have wanted to pit. Didn't see them do it. I guess they're hoping that someone else will pit, but no one does. And we are getting ready to go. I see them lining up side by side. David Owens still in the lead. Matt Novella finishes that top row. Joe Volpus, Alex McQuarter, and we are going green here in Milwaukee. Owens leading in the lap. At turn 1, he's got Novella just outside of him. Oh, and that 15 of McQuarter poking his nose under there, but he lets off knowing Novella could cut down at any moment. Really hoping we can get a hold of Joe Volpus' crew chief and see exactly what's going on with that 98 car as he continues to lose positions as we see Sean Walton go up underneath him and take over that fourth place from Volpes.
Yeah, I got a feeling maybe Joseph's just maybe on real old tires there and just trying to hang on.
You know, that's something I've noticed with the iRacing. Oh, a little bit of contact right there between the two, and they're both going to lose a little bit of time as we see the top three cars push away, and Volpes and Walton, the victims of perhaps what you just said, those slick tires. And we see the top three of Owens, Novella, and McWhorter pushing away, and Walton finally gets that fourth position away from Volpes. Hard racing as we are looking at that last 8 laps for these men as they are vying for those ever important stage points. Oh, and look at Volpes stuck on the outside again as he could get eaten up by 4 cars right there, KK.
Oh, it looks like further back in the pack, though, Babcock got a little loose underneath Jared Kelly in the 55, slid back, gave a problem to the 6. Now the 6 slid back as the 2 is continuing to hemorrhage spots right now as the 28 Amato passes him outside.
Absolutely, and we see the 69 of Christopher Knott as well, that black and green car, as he's on the outside trying to arrange it, and that 957 trying to cut down low. David Cook getting involved. He's a few laps down, but that doesn't mean he's not going to race you hard.
Oh, we got an incident at 55 up ahead. Cars everywhere there. Oh.
Yeah. That looked bad, ladies and gentlemen. That looked bad. Joe Volpes slowly drifting backwards, and we're going to have to take another look at that and see if the speed deficiency of Volpes caused that, or perhaps just the aggressiveness of another driver. That ought to be an interesting replay.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll get it fired up here.
And that not the time that you want to find yourself making that kind of mistake. And we do see cars coming into the pit now. 951, 988, the 99, the 28, and Volpes coming in. Makes you wonder if he's got some damage or if he's just going to forfeit those 10 stage points.
So me and Gene, I'm rewinding it here. They are 4 wide. So you got the 99, the 98, Jared Killing, the 55, and Kyle and Knott all involved in this incident here. Gonna try to get it maybe from the blimp as we roll this beautiful bean footage. Take a look at it in real time.
Ooh. Little bit of contact pushes him 4 wide. Oh, and he returns the favor. And those 2 cars come around, and oh, wow, what a T-bone. Who was that came in with the T-bone steak? They had nowhere to go.
Therefore, St. Norm's T-bone steaks.
That was quite unfortunate. Just stuck between a rock and a hard place, or a door and a wall, and you got to take your pick.
All right, looks like the 98 and the 55 are still in pits, trying to get some damage repaired. The 22 of David Brenner also in, maybe getting some more repair. But that's going to be the end of the stage there, Mean Gene.
Yeah, look at Volpes down there. I think he was the actual guy that came in and hit that rear quarter panel dead on. He's got a lot of damage on the front end of that 98.
The 98, and it was the 55 that got a little bit of bumping and grinding there. And then Jared Kelly gave a little bump, got by, but then kind of lost momentum and then slid back up the track in front of Joseph. And then Joseph, might have repaid the favor. No, I'm not, can't say he did or not. And then they both ended up in an outside wall, but I'm not sure who came in to deliver the ARCA brake.
Retaliation is more than just a movie by Fox Studios. It is also a tactic here on a track known as the Milwaukee Mile. Oh, and Volpes still in the pits as we see the leaders coming around. Quite unfortunate. Look at Joe Amato back up in there in the front with David Owens, Novella, and McWhorter.
Mean Gene, I'm going to put it on exciting. I got to go open a jar of spaghetti sauce for my wife. So I got it on. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds.
Hey, tap it with a spoon. It'll open the seal. Good luck, my friend. So we are here under caution on the stage break. Drivers following the pace car. Looked like most of the drivers did come in for that pit. Remember, your fuel run is about 35 to 40 on the gas window and 5 sets of tires, 1 on the car, 4 in the pit. A lot of leeway for these drivers as far as figuring out who's going to take tires, and we are going green, hammered down as Amato leads them into turn 1. Great run for him. And you've got the 11 of Owens and the 56. Oh, caution immediately as we've got some spinning in the back. Those cars were side by side, and you know on a restart, that's exactly when a caution is going to occur. We're going to have to get a look here. Once
right.
KK gets back from the spaghetti sauce.
We got a caution here?
On the restart, they came into the turn 2 and 3, 1 and 2, and then on that backstretch, we had some spinners. Didn't get a good look. I was looking at the jump Amato got over Owens and Novella, so really didn't get a good look.
All right.
Love the race computer. Just takes a few moments to figure out exactly what's happening. Oh, Jared Kelly receiving an EOL. I think he might have been part of that magic. He is 4 laps down at this point, too. Not how you get back into it.
Oh, here we go. I got it. It's David Brenner in a 22, further back in the pack.
Aha. Oh, he did a few laps. Look at him.
Take a look at it in full speed here.
All right, so we're looking at the back of the pack here.
Keep your eyes on the 22, the black and blue Ford on the top line.
Yes, car's black and blue, and after this incident, I think he might be as well. Boy, he just spun that thing.
Interesting.
Not really sure. I mean, not quite as
Oh, the
confusing
pace car comes in. Luckily, ghosted it and survives that impact.
Looked like that ghost car wanted some steak as well as he went for the T-bone, but Brenner lucky enough to get towed and get out of the way. That was some exciting racing. That was really strange. That was almost as strange as the Corey LaJoie flipping his car. I thought they had a CO2 cartridge in that right front wheel to make him spin.
It acted like I think he might have started in first gear, maybe.
Oh, you know what? You could be right. You cannot make that mistake. These tires will spin, especially if you got fresh tires and they're a little bit cold. Take yourself right out of a race before you know it. And Brenner is going to find himself laps down. He's getting that repair done. And remember, there is no quick repair here tonight in Milwaukee. There is no quick repair in the MRL Wednesday night Xfinity Series. If you wreck, you're going to pay for it. Also, cars involved in the wreck often will be given the EOL penalty as well, sending them to the end of the line. If the crash and the repair pit stop doesn't send them back there. That's really interesting grouping, KK, as we look at the front of the pack. Amato, Lynott, Smorol, Casabere, and Bollinger, not seeing the Owens Novella team that we're used to seeing running up in that front. Those two are still 9 and 10.
And
So
Mean
they're
Gene,
still in the hunt.
Mean Gene, just a heads up, the Casa Beer, it's actually, I got a message on YouTube, messaged me on YouTube and said, by the way, his last name is said like a case of beer. Case beer.
Case of beer. You know what? The Alabama in me loves that, because I am more familiar with a case of beer than I am with a Casabere. So, Jonathan, case of beer, this one's to you, my friend. This portion of the race brought to you by and we're going green here at Milwaukee. Mono is going to hold that lead, staying down on the apron as Kyle Lynott, a new name for here in Milwaukee, running second. Christopher Smorall third. Jonathan Casabir, that's my new favorite name right now, KK, running fourth. And Andrew Bolander in fifth, chasing him down. A lot of these cars still find themselves riding really high in these turns, and I don't know if it's to save wheels, to get them hot, or just to get away from some of this traffic.
You know what, Mean Gene, I think it's just overcooking entry. I think it's just too, just coming in too hard on entry, and you have nowhere else to go but up the track.
Yeah, I tell you, when it's me, people say hit your points and race the track, but, when I hear your car engine revving right next to me, I find I go into those turns a little bit hot as well.
Mean Gene, we got another viewer in chat wants to know where in Bama.
Where in Bama? We are in Alabaster, Alabama. That's the 35007, my friends. This is getting to be some really good racing. We're seeing them spread out now. Lynott's still leading the pack. Looking back a little bit further, we can see Casabir going down low, trying to get that position from the number 2 of Babcock. That's another guy, Bad Bob. He's trying to make a move there, the Rooster himself, number 2.
Mean Gene, man, it's been a while since I've done this. I find myself watching the race and not looking on the cars I should be.
Well, it's part of the magic of the Wednesday night Xfinity series is watching these experienced drivers. These men know what they're doing, and when the tires are warm, they're going to hold their line. They can get really close. They can run 2. They can run 3 wide. And it really is the rarity when we see the accident occur. And it's so easy to just get caught up in the drama of the moment watching these cars race. I mean, look at right there, the 15. He's running high on the outside, Alex McQuarter, but yet he's not losing any position.
Speaking of running outside there, I know Smorl's got on the outside right now in position number 4, trying to hold on right now on the outside line.
We saw that outside line work up until about halfway of a tire run. And then at that point, things started to get a little bit slippery, and the inside car, not the outside car, but the inside car seemed to slide up a little bit and cause those incidents. So that outside line is viable. It's just a matter of having faith that the guy below you is not going to slide up just a little bit.
And I think what you're seeing too, though, is the fastest way around the track is a high entry, bringing it down low, and high exit out. But you have someone that has a little bit of speed, and you're driving it down low, they can get on your outside, and that's when the problems start happening.
Absolutely. You just got to have the testicular fortitude to come in hot on that high line and keep that throttle down and hope that those tires are staggered properly.
Speaking of testicular, we got number 11, Owens, further back in the pack. He's mired in some traffic in P7 at the moment with Matt Novella. These two were the leaders of the race, but right now they got a little bit of traffic to get back up to their spot.
And their position and the tribulation that these two drivers are going through right now might be telling us a story about Milwaukee. The track position is going to be an issue as we come down. These guys are pros. David Owens is leading this series right now in points. So it's not that he can't pass. It might be that the track is not allowing you to pass. As you talked about earlier, come in high, cut down low. That might be the preferred line for all these drivers. And until we see whose tires start to get slick first, we might just see a lot of single file racing. Owens is poking around, trying to get by that number 2 of Badcock, but the Rooster just not going to give it up.
Mean Gene, my iRacing audio is taking a crap, I think. So, we got a caution out in the field, though, looks like.
Oh, little bit. Oh, and I see some spinning in the back. That looked bad.
Okay. Oh,
what's up?
Viewer in chat says he says he's in or she is in Daphne, just east of Mobile.
Absolutely. Daphne, Alabama. Absolutely. Down south. Mobile, Alabama. You know, that's where Mardi Gras was actually invented, not in New Orleans. They throw some amazing parties down there at Mardi Gras time. Mobile, Alabama. Well, I can tell you, KK, it was a black card that was spinning, but I do not know exactly how it happened to him.
Yeah, if you could find that for me while I try to fix. Yeah, I can hear the audio too. Hey, oh boy, is it all our audio, or is it just the iRacing motors?
You see the 951 going into the pit, and the 69 also following him, the 45. And behind him, it looks like the 23, and that 23 could have been, that 23 is Sean Walton. He could have been our spinner. As we are looking at them coming around turn number 2, pace card leading the group.
Yeah, Mean Gene, give me a second. I need to fix the audio from iRacing.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got it fixed here. This one.
All right.
All right, oh boy, let me know if that sounds better there. I think I found the culprit there.
All right, the 23 of Sean Walton coming out of the pits. I think he was our spinner. I see a lot of damage to the rear end of Sean Walton's 23 car.
23 car, Sean Walton. Okay. Yep. If I can find it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, big lick there. Something happened there between. Looks like the 23 came up in the front of the line of 951 there.
Oh, yeah. The 951, he does not suffer fools gladly. That's Chris Cornett, champion from another league, coming in. Oh, you can just see that's a racing incident. He rode him up into the wall, and there was nowhere for Cornett to go. And then they're just sideways, and he says, "What's your favorite cut of steak?" And he says, "T-bone."
That's right, Mean Gene. And speaking of T-bones, we got Jared Kelly from Jared. Are you coming out of the medical center?
Yeah, that car's killed.
What happened there, Jared?
Had new tires, was working around the outside. Joe got a little loose going into 3, just a little bit. I kind of used him up a little bit there, and we were basically 4 wide, almost coming off of 4, and I somehow cleared him, and then he got into the back of me and just spun me around.
Yeah. You got the 55 of Jared Kelly. I got a question for you, Jared. Vulpes was slowly falling back. The man led the race at the beginning, and then suddenly he's just fading away, 4th, 5th, 6th place. That's when you ran into him. Do you think his lack of speed was an issue there, or do you think maybe there was a block? I mean, tell the truth, Jared. What do you think happened?
I mean, he definitely was losing that right front late into this run. I mean, I was too. That's why I pitted there, just to maybe get somewhat of a tire advantage for the stage, and I was making up really good ground. But yeah, he was definitely tight, but it looked like he was a little loose on entry. Like he had that rear brake bias set a little bit forward, or to the rear, just to kind of help rotate on entry, but it doesn't really slow you down that much. Because I mean, I watched the replay, and that back end was coming out on the entry at 3 before I got to the quarter panel. And I mean, I know I used him up, but I was trying to give the 99 room, and if I stayed in the throttle, I was definitely going into the outside wall of 4, which turns out I was going there anyways. But oh well, we were having it was a really bad fast Ford Performance Ford Mustang for that 55 team. It was it was solid on new tires.
Oh, you guys were definitely running fast and great racing. Speaking of, we're back to green here at Milwaukee. Kyle Lynott, he is finding himself out in the lead in that 988 car. He's got a slight gap before he run into the 8 of Bolander, the 28 of Joseph Amato behind him, the Rooster Robert Babcock 4th, Colin Bollinger. He's already won a race here in the series. He's running 5th.
Hey, and then Jared, welcome to stay and hang out if you want. join us, man, while I work the controls, or if you gotta go, no worries, man.
I'll sit in. I'm gonna let you guys have control of this. This ain't my broadcast. This ain't the
Oh,
Bonfire Racing Network.
Well, just call it out. See something, let me know, because I'm using some old school stuff. But we got some battles going on here between Matt Novella and 99 of Richard.
Yeah, Novella's still running pretty good back there, old fat man himself. Look at Owen, 53, using that high line, though, Bollinger. Again, we keep talking about a lot of drivers coming in hot. Jared, what do you think? I mean, we've seen a lot of cars going high and losing 2-3 positions, that being some of the most active passing on the track. Is it just going in hot, or do you think a lot of drivers are trying to use that high line, trying to find speed?
Well, I mean, on old tires or semi like equal tires, that new asphalt there at the bottom's definitely the fastest way. It's got the traction. You get up into that light gray stuff and it starts getting slick and loose. So it's definitely that old asphalt up there. But some guys are kind of forced up there due to situations happening on track, and they've got nothing but to try and get to the throttle and power out of the corner.
Well, as we look back on the track, you can see Novella. He's just running on the outside of the 15 of Alex McWhorter, and it's going to cost him. Look how hot McWhorter comes in, holds his line, draws all the way up to the 99, and the 56 of Matt Novella just starts to lose space, and even finds the 97 of Richard Swingle pull up on him, and he might even lose another position to the green 97. So that outside line, it can be your friend, I think, early in the run with those perfect traction tires, if you can come in and find that right angle. But like you said, that outside, that's a tough spot to be.
Yeah, I was kind of stuck out there for a little bit earlier in the race, and it was definitely no fun. I don't know how I was able to kind of hold my own there on the outside. It's not an easy task, and you're trying to protect that right front. This right front is just torn up at the end of these runs, and that's why you see these cars plowing up the racetrack. But I definitely don't envy them anymore being out of the car.
All right, and we can see them spreading out single file. Babcock trying to pull away from the 53 of Bollinger. Joseph Amato, the 5 of Smorrell, still making chase. But you can see them starting to spread out until somebody goes high. And the minute you see them go high, that people on the apron just kind of close that gap, and that's where we start to see more and more excitement. Speaking of excitement, just 0.9 seconds behind the leader, David Owens has found himself back in third place, right on the tailpipe of Andrew Bollander. But I guess it's not the tailpipe, because that's mean he's in his door, right?
Well, it depends if you're talking about the decal or the actual tailpipe, but I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think they're equal on tires right now, and it's going to be interesting. David's got speed to be up front, but he's got to try and work around the outside of Andrew Bollander there in the 8. It's going to be a tough battle. I think possibly maybe he can do it based off of speed. He's holding it down on the door, kind of minimizing Andrew's exit off the corner. That's slowing down Andrew's momentum and allowing the 2 to kind of creep up on these guys.
Absolutely, Jared. That's what I was about to say. We see the 2 of Babcock and the 53 of Bollinger just kind of creep right back into this picture as these 2 guys are doing that side-by-side racing. And we're going to see not only Owens, but Babcock as well, Rooster, wanting to use that outside lane.
You don't want to leave that bottom
right here.
Yeah, you don't want to leave that bottom lane open either. It looks like the 53 is going to shove the 2. Maybe wait for both these guys to pile a little bit tight off the corner of 4, maybe try and slip underneath both of them.
Well, and meanwhile, while we're having a 4-way battle, all of a sudden, look who it is. Mr. Zero Chill David Owens pulls away, and he starts to chase down our leader, Kyle Lynott, as he's 1.3 seconds behind. Lynott actually pulling away a little bit. It's probably a byproduct of that 4-way fight.
Yeah, well, also Kyle's got that clean air and clean track in front of him, too. David Owens just about a 0.05 of a second slower that last lap. It's going to be interesting to see this time by what those lap times are, and seeing if that right front tire on David Owens, if it got torn up in that battle, powering out on the outside, or if he's got a little bit left on that right front.
Now, as far as speed goes, we were tracking the cars. KK, was David Owens not the fastest car fastest lap there in stage 1?
Yeah, he threw down one of the fastest laps. Back to you, Mean Gene.
So he's got that speed. I think it's just a matter of him getting away from those others. And we're going to keep an eye, Jared. Really good insight there on his tire wear to see if Owens ate it up on that run. Look at number 2. What smart driving as Babcock lets off the gas just enough to let Bollinger swing above him, and then he can try to cut back down and get on that inside. Really smart driving by these drivers here in the MRL Racing League, as we see them making space, give and take, to not just have caution after caution on such a tight track as Milwaukee is.
I'm not quite too sure about that. The two of Robert Babcock, he had a slide job thrown on him in turn 3. I kind of saw it while we were talking about David Owens. Who was it? Colin Bollinger pulling a good old slide job into turn 3 made me chuckle a little bit behind the scenes.
And Babcock, exactly, and I think that's what Babcock saw. You know when people are going to do that thing, and it looked to me like Babcock let off, and did not want a part of that. I mean, let's face it, I'd rather have 5th in stage points than find myself a few laps down. I mean, especially when you're the unfortunate victim of somebody else having a party like yourself was. I mean, that there was just a car in front of you all of a sudden.
Alex McCorder making the move on Joseph Amato in the 28 for P8 or P7 actually.
Good race. Again, I really like that paint scheme Amato is running. He's got that shout out to the Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior. Never a Jeff Gordon fan, but always appreciated what the man did. Wow, and McCorder made short work of Amato as he just zipped on by, and he keeps on going. Makes you wonder if Amato's going to keep on going backwards and run into Case of Beer, again, my favorite name to say tonight, or if he can recover and get moving forward again in that 28 car.
Yeah, kind of in stage 1, it seemed like Joe was fast there on new tires early on. Kind of faded back there halfway through the run. I think he was the one I made the move around the outside and held him off. I think he kind of pushes that right front tires a little bit, while some of these other guys, they try and save it for corner entry so that they don't slide up the racetrack.
Well, we might start to see some tire wears. We are on lap 77 out of 90, 13 laps to go. Might actually see some pit stops coming in soon to get fuel. How about you, Jared? Did you take tires? How many laps did you run, and did you find yourself needing tires at that point?
Yeah, so let me go back to it from that first stage. It was with that early yellow thrown in there. I did have to come in around lap 39-ish, maybe? No, it was a little bit at 46 possibly. I don't even know. I'm reading I'm looking at practice, that's why. I think 46 I needed tires is about a full run of fuel, because I did do a full fuel run there. But definitely in the race, around lap 33, I definitely needed some tires.
You were running it pretty hot too. You were not saving. You were right in the middle of the race, pushing pretty hard. So maybe we can see some of these guys running on the outside and saving some tire wear as we're looking at the 28 slowly running around that outside. And let's take another look as we see Case of Beer making a nice move, and he falls in right behind the Monster Energy of Robert Richards. Amato, he seems a little bit off the pace as he tries to get back down on the apron and make a move on McCordy.
Yeah, he definitely did not like that pass set on him by the 99 of Robert Richards. Pulled a little bit of a crossover or diamonding the corner. Definitely one strategy part of the Milwaukee Miles, diamonding the corner, where you kind of drive the corner at a point. You drive it in deep, kind of go up the racetrack a little bit, and then try and dive it down, run down the hill, try and gain some momentum off the corner. But I think those tires are just not agreeing with, as he almost got into the right rear of the 99.
Well, you figure, though, he's got one guy that gave him a slide job and another guy that cut down on him doing a diamond, and that's who he's surrounded by. Kind of hard to run with those partners. That might be in the back of his head. Wow, really good racing here as we see Amato trying to make a move, but that Monster Energy right underneath him. And these guys are almost 3 wide, letting the leaders kind of just pull away in front of them, as there is a good 2.5 second lead up to the 7th position of Bolander.
It looks like
Amato.
Owens was able to take over the lead too over Kyle Lynott, I think, right? Over Kyle leading.
Absolutely. Let's take a shot of that front real fast just to see what we're working with. Owens has a 0.2 second lead over Lynott, and he just appears to start pulling away here. Owens had a fast car, led early, got past Volpus pretty quickly, and he and Novella made short work of the field. But now, without anybody in front of him, Owens just eating up that clean air, pushing it already to 7/10 of a second lead over the second place 988 of Kyle Lynott. Bollinger coming into the picture too, though. You got to start wondering if that man, remember he won last week at Sonoma, so he is no stranger to victory lane as he starts to chase down Kyle Lynott as well. It's a big impulse. You know, it is a challenge to not push your car once you get into the lead. I think once you start looking at that timer and you're just hitting your marks, it's really easy to let the track eat up your tire as you're pulling away. And I think that's what we might have seen happen to Lynott, letting Owens take him over. And especially as we see Bollinger closing in on Lynott right here, you got to wonder how much tire that Kyle has left on that 988.
I couldn't agree with more with you, Mean Gene. I'm usually in the lead, and that pressure always gets to me.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about experience, if you want to know what happens in the middle to the back of the pack, now I'm your guy. That's where my experience is in these races, hoping for the wreck. That's what I call the Kyle Petty pass, is when the people in front of you wreck and you go on by when they're in the wall. I'm a master at the Kyle Petty pass.
It's like 3 to go here before the end of the stage. And
oh, it's really looking strong here.
Yeah, Kyle's starting to fall back. He overdrove the exit there, saw a little bit of rear tire slide there on exit when he's battling Bollinger, but starting to slowly work his way back. He's still got a few laps to try and hold on for stage points. I don't know when the stage points coming in. I have no clue points. I was just here to have a good time.
Lap 90, and I'll tell you what, there's another name I haven't said in a minute, though, and here he comes, Fat Man himself, running third, Matt Novella. I think you can hear the music in the background, na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Fat Man, and he is about to chase down Bollinger as well. His second and third is turning into an interesting race. Ooh, we've got a little bit loose back there. Looks like we're on the in-car cam. Who is that, KK? Who are we looking at?
We're on board with 56 of Matt Novella.
Oh, and remember, Novella is one of the leaders in incident points. So anytime you got that front end close to your back end, ooh, or if you're the wall as well, you might be in danger of the 56 giving you a touch.
That's
really
what I say
good
about
run by
Jared.
Novella.
Gotta be careful when this run ends around your back end too.
I think that's a pretty consistent thing about your leaders, guys who win, is they're not afraid to use that front end. They're not going to give you the Austin Dillon Destructo bump, but they are going to use a little bit of that front end just to let you know, especially when you feel the heat of other cars chasing you down. You don't have time to play footsies with somebody when you got a line of 4 or 5 cars closing the gap behind you, because one wiggle, you hit that outside line and those 4 cars could shoot right by you on the preferred lap. Oh my, this is not the time for a caution, KK. Jared, what are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at the stage break there. So David
okay,
Owens winning stage number 2.
I thought there was a wreck.
Yeah, no, stage breaks, I don't know, what's a stage break?
Lap 90.
Nah.
Or what is the stage break, or when is the stage break?
Both.
My head was spinning looking for a wreck.
Well, a stage
Good
break,
stage
Kevin,
break.
is where they gotta let the drivers take a little bit of a cat nap in the middle of the race. They're not like us bonfire guys where we run the race straight through.
I think there's benefits, there's pros and cons of stage racing and straight racing. Of course, for the championship points, it just makes it more interesting when you add another max of 20 points to your regular season point total with these stages. It's going to cause guys to go a little bit harder, making it a little more exciting by the fans. Oh, and pit road is open, and what do you think, Jared? Everybody coming?
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna be coming down for some 4 tires and fuel. It's gonna be a long stage number 3. I think we're going to maybe see a green flag pit stop in stage number 3. Not quite sure. I think it's about close to 60 laps left to go, 65 maybe.
And look at Joe Volpus back on the track. He is bringing it around, passing the pace car. Wow. I think that's the fastest we've seen him go in about 50 laps there, Jared.
Yeah, I would have still been out there too, but and I think the rear was a little skewed and the wheel was turned all the way to the left, so I wasn't comfortable continuing on. So
well, he's a gamer. He's 19 laps down. I imagine he is coming into the pits now after just getting that one back. I bet we're going to see Volpus run hard until there's about 20 laps left in the race, and then at that point, there's no way he's going to catch another position. Unfortunate, all of those incidents for those down drivers. We got four cars out of the race. Volpus 18 laps down, running back in 19th position. And then other than that, you still got 18 cars on that lead lap. But the people you really need to pay attention to are the ones you see in the front right now. David Owens, Matt Novella, Colin Bollinger, Kyle Lynott, Robert Babcock. Those top 5 right there, guys, I think you're going to see fighting pretty hard toward the end. Other drivers, I wonder where they are. Is Case Sabir, guy qualified 4th, he's running back in 11th. Oh, and Volpus just stopped on the track. Not sure what is happening. The 23 of Sean Watson almost smashed into him, and definitely they're talking in driver chat. Wish I was a fly on the wall for that one.
I think it's all based off of what race control is telling them to do. So.
Well, as we know, Florida man in charge of race control tonight, so God knows what he's saying. Let's go back up and see. We're looking at the number 2 of the Rooster, Robert Babcock. Pace car is leading him around after the stage 2 break. Really nice number 2 car right there. With the 15 on the outside of him of Alex McWhorter. These two guys running 5th and 6th tonight. Both of them have found the front, but not yet lead a lap. Remember, here in the Xfinity Series, you do receive 1 point for leading a lap. So everybody is hungry to try to get that 1 lap. Old Winston Cup rules of he who leads a lap gets a point. Owens and Novella back as the top 2. Not a surprise, as we've seen these guys battling through the field to get back up to the front. And now with everybody having equal amounts of gas and brand new tires, those are going to be your 2 leaders. Bollinger and Lynott is going to be in the 2nd row. Babcock, McWhorter finishing off your top 6. What do you think the theme is going to be here as we see the pace car pull off the track and we're going green, hammer down. David Owens leading them over the start-finish line going into turn 1, and Novella running strong down on the apron with a heck of a run. Kyle Lynott on the outside quickly cuts it down. 3 cars running single file, and then they are 2 wide following that.
Yeah, I think Novella ran there in 3rd gear on the initial start because you saw him kind of lift there on the back straightaway. I think that was an upshift, so definitely some speed out of that 56 as there's some chaos further behind him.
Absolutely, they are bunching up as we see that top 8 cars start to pull away and make their own group. And then there's a little bit of chaos running about 11 behind. After the number 8 of Bollinger and back to Pace of Beer, we can kind of see a little bit of a gap. Cars on these newer tires are going to be a little bit slick at first as they're just trying to hold position. You can see them spread out. Ooh, Case of Beer and the 69 of not trying to run side by side. And right behind them, you can see just how high the 57 of Thomas Fox runs as he is discovering new parts of the track. Thomas Fox,
like
a name we haven't said tonight.
Yeah, Alex McCord just ran the fastest lap of the race at 30.84.
That is amazing. Alex running 4th position right now, trying to chase these guys down as we see Owens continue to lead. Alex was running pretty fast tonight, though. Not a surprise that you're going to tell me he's running one of the faster laps especially when those guys are in there fiddling with the cars, trying to get it dialed in based on KK, what's the track temp looking like there?
Dropping all the way down to 82 degrees, 71 air temp.
Somebody must have turned the air conditioner on, because it's a lot harder. It's a lot warmer where I am currently, and the sun is not out at all. Really good shots here of the Xfinity Wednesday Night Series as we see these cars coming around Milwaukee Mile right now on this final stage of this Wednesday. Race number 4 of 13, fighting for position. Owens looking for his first win on the season, as is Novella. You know, Novella, with his finish last week, he jumped up 14 positions. So the guy is running really hot right now with some good racing coming out of that 56 car as he is trying to chase down our leader, David Owens. We're not right behind him. And again, McWhorter, who just laid down that red hot lap in 4th with a slight gap over Bollinger. And remember, Bollinger just won last week. So you got a lot of experience and a lot of victories right there in that top 5.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle and Knott, that 98 car is starting to make a little bit of gain on the 56 of Matt. Matt's seeming maybe doesn't have the momentum as Kyle does, but it's got him where he wants him behind him. So if he can make his life more difficult, Kyle might work out me and him burning up his stuff.
Well, I've never actually been the one chasing down David Owens, but from what I've heard, chasing him down can wear your tires out. I have seen David on the track in my rearview mirror a few times. That's quite intimidating.
I had so many punchlines for that. I think it's fair.
PG-13 here on the MRL Broadcasting Network.
Now Kyle under attack of Alex McWhorter there, and that nice looking number 15. Nice to see him in a different paint scheme.
Oh, these 4 are really making work of it. And I'll tell you what, that wiggling that they're doing, that's giving that shot for Bollinger to come sliding up behind him. And again, Chris Cornett, remember, he won that championship in the other league that he runs in, so it would not be a surprise. Cornett would not be a stranger to being in a running for a podium position. Really good racing as we look at him coming across the start-finish line here.
Yeah, I'm watching these cars from the spotter stand, and I can just see those right rear tires digging into the racetrack. All those cars eating up the racetrack just like an old dirt car. Kind of getting a little loose on exit 2, maybe overdriving the exit of the corner as well.
But instead of dirt and rock, that is just rubber that these guys are laying down. And they're possibly going to regret that in about 10 more laps as we see these guys just pounding hard out here on lap 103 as they've got about 36 laps to go as they just cross that start finish line. Really good run here out of Owens. He's got to be proud of what they've done with that car here today. Did not start on the pole, but clearly had one of the fastest cars. But we see them tightening up again. Nobody can get away. Makes you wonder, is Owens saving his tires, or is he worn his tires, and that's just allowed Novella, Lynott, and McWhorter to catch back up to them? Owens definitely has found that groove. He seems to be running that same line, just what you talked about earlier, Jared, coming in just a little bit higher and then just bringing it down just enough. Not a diamond for Owens, but he's definitely finding that apex and being able to power through it much better than those guys in that dirty air behind him.
Yeah, I see Alex McWhorter there in the 15 running the rumble strips out of turn number 4, trying to just close out the bottom of the racetrack, get a cleaner exit off the corner, maybe a little bit of momentum towards Kyle Lynott.
It's so hard when you got a car in front of you because you're not exactly sure what he's going to do. He's stealing the air. You got that hot air that you're just pushing right into. It's not like a super speedway where you get that beautiful draft and it just drags you along. No, instead it can be running into a solid wall As we see right now, the 15 is right there on that bumper trying to sneak by. What a great battle as we see the 15 and the 988 of Lynott battling.
Yeah, Alex a little conservative there on the brakes, braking earlier before Lynott.
He wants that crossover, right? Isn't that his move? He likes to come in high and maybe just dip it down, get underneath you, and get you in that next turn.
Yeah, well, you almost gotta be equal, shoot like nose to nose going on into the corner to have a shot at the pass. Even it's not really a done deal until you actually cleared them.
And how about right behind him, Bollinger? Look at him experiment, trying to go a little bit higher. He definitely is trying that diamond more so than the fellas in front of him because he's got that extra few car lengths in front of him. Here's a great shot right there of the hood of Bollinger, as you can see just how far behind he is. And as he comes into the turn, he closes the gap and then he cuts down hard. I think I could hear his tires screaming as he made that move, and then he powers down the backstretch. Really exciting racing as we look, especially out of that top 5. You're looking about a 1.2 second behind to the 6th position of Robert Richards, who's kind of on his own, and then Robert Babcock back in 7th, Chris Cornett in 8th, Amato in 9th, Andrew Bolander. That's going to round out your top 10. But these top 5, that's where it's at. You just have to wonder, can Bollinger make a move as he starts to fade away after trying that highlight diamond techniques that just did not close the gap? And you got to wonder what he did to his right front.
Yeah, and I mean, Gene, we should be hitting pit stops here shortly. Let's see.
We're coming up. It's lap 110. Remember, we got 140 laps scheduled, so we got 30 laps remaining, and that's about as good a time as any to come into the pits. Jared, you said what? You ran about 35 before you felt the tires start to get crazy on you?
Well, I wouldn't say they were crazy, but definitely fuel would be an issue kind of around lap 137 out of 155. So give it about maybe 18 laps left to go when we see green flag pit stops, unless somebody tries to split stage 3 up in half and maybe get a little bit of a tire advantage early.
You know, those early pits, you know, the quick pit stop is an advantage when there's not cars in your way. And we've seen track position be such a factor. I would be super disappointed if my crew chief had me come in to try to split the difference, get those faster, you know, those tires to run the faster laps, and then I just find myself caught in traffic, giving up that position. You really want to find that perfect window so that you can come out and have some open track in front of you. Even if you're risking going a lap down in front of the leaders, if you got that clean air, it might even be worth it. We go back to the
Alex McWhorter just made the pass on the Kyle Lynott of 988, and looks like the 53 Bollinger is going to follow him through. He hasn't cleared just yet. Now he does clear.
Absolutely. You see it. When you go high, they go low, and they bring friends. Nobody passes alone in this league. This is such good racing. And look at that. Both those cars using that high line as we see McWhorter stay low and even pull further away as he's trying to close that gap. The two leaders, you can just see, though, Owens and Novella slowly pulling away from the trio of McWhorter, Bollinger, and Lynott. And suddenly you can see Robert Richards actually start to come into that picture as well, as the 99 car is trying to make himself a factor for that top 5 position.
Jared, when you're out there on the track, sturdy air a thing, being stuck behind another car? I mean, it usually is, but speeds are running. Did you feel it a whole lot, or?
No, not really. It was more like a short track race where downforce isn't really much of a factor in this. So, like, you don't really get any speed advantage of being behind a car down the straightaways, or any disadvantage being right behind a car. At least I didn't notice it. So
10-4. Yeah, maybe it's just more about, like you said, on your preferred line, not being held up, being side by side for too long.
Speaking of preferred line, you could see Novella half a lap ago really swerve that thing hard right to left as he's trying to make up some distance and run a different line than Owens. But Owens has just had that 11 dialed in, it seems like the last 100 laps, and is just really creating a problem from the other cars trying to catch him up. We go back, we can see that monster energy of Robert Richards battling with the Rooster Babcock as he's trying to close down on him as well, as Richards looks like he's moving backwards a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like the 99, Doug Neal's going to be making that, or Robert Richards, sorry about that. Robert Richards in the 99 going to try to clear Kyle here as Kyle continues to lose spots right now.
Yeah, Kyle slowly moving back, which is a surprise especially. Oh, he's finding the rumble strip, and yes, sir, it is there. And on the outside, we're going to see Richards go right around him. That rumble strip is not your friend. That is for absolute certain. Nice three-car battle right there as we see the 99 in front of Lynott and Babcock right behind him. Also have to start wondering at what point does fatigue become an issue. You're not exactly in a 140-degree car, but it does wear you down. As we see the number 2 of Babcock getting under Lynott, and these two guys battling, running hard side by side for that 6th position.
Yeah, with Kyle, looks like Kyle might have burned up his stuff, so he's probably going to be coming in on the first sign of pit window where he can make it in of fuel, more than likely. So we'll have to see if he brings starts coming in, one of the first ones to come in.
Yep, we're about to come up on lap 120. We're going to leave 20 laps. I mean, at any point right now, Jared, what do you think? I mean, what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to the end, why do you not pit now? What is the logic behind what these drivers are doing?
Well, kind of like what you said earlier, if you pit early and you get stuck in traffic, that you don't really get that much of an advantage, and you don't want to burn your stuff up too early in case there's a early yellow and you get caught a lap down. That's basically just almost the end of your night. You either get the lucky dog and go to the back of the field on the same tires as everybody else, or you get stuck a lap down.
And I don't want to pull a Larry McReynolds, but we're going to come onto that green flag pit stop and we start thinking about the history, the tradition of cautions on these last few laps when people are coming in and out of those pits under green flag. I don't think it's out of the ordinary or would be outrageous for a caution to appear, and you don't want to be caught down in there at that point. You don't want to be a lap down or 2 laps down if all of a sudden that caution pops up. Really strong racing here. Making a peek back there at Stephen Neal. He's running in 17th currently. And you can see them all packing up as Thomas Fox and Fast Louis, Steve Lewis himself, all running in there.
And Joseph Amato announcing that he is going to come down pit road over the radio, so Joseph Amato going to be your first one to come down pit road.
And that, remember, Amato, he's had an interesting night. He ran in the front of the pack. He had a wreck. He was part of a wreck. He got spun. Somebody hit him right in the bumper. He's got a partner coming down as well, so Amato going to lead the group as he is the first, and I see another car right behind him coming into the pits. Going to be interesting to see if they can come out and find clean air and take advantage of those fresh tires, or if they're going to get caught up in the soup and not be able to make a move. Owens and Novella still running strong as Novella's trying to track down Owens.
Yeah, Novella's been a little bit faster in the later stages of this race, so if he can get close to him as David wants to pit, maybe Matt Novella can maybe overcut him and get up ahead of him and make Owens try and do the dirty work and pass him late in the race.
Owens going to lead him across that start-finish line as they complete lap 124, leaving 16 laps to go. You got to expect at some point for these guys to come in. Do you think, Jared, there's somebody out there playing games that might actually have 16 laps of fuel left in that tank?
Definitely not. They do not have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race.
Mean Gene, I'm showing 31, right? Is that right, Jared?
Yeah, that's right.
And here comes Owens. They are coming in, the leaders. I think this is going to start a contagion of pit stops.
Yeah, Matt's got to be fast into his box. Doesn't look like it. It's going to be at a weird angle there.
Looked like
Yeah,
he
it's too
caught him
bad
a
you
little
can't
bit.
block.
It looked like he caught him on an entry, but you definitely see Owens' left sides are going up right now.
Here we go. They're putting fresh in. There goes Owens first, and Novella coming after. Owens
Terrific pit
definitely
stop.
got a little advantage.
Big advantage.
If we go back up to the front, we're going to see Robert Richards with a nice lead. He's got about a 3-second lead over Cornette, Bolinder behind him, McQuarter 5.5 back, and then a good space of about 9 seconds back to Babcock. So we're really seeing cars taking advantage of that clean air, and we'll just have to see how it tallies around as these cars all get back into the same tire and fuel strat. Got some more action down there on pit road.
Yeah, there goes the before mentioned Robert Richards bringing it on in.
Yeah, these guys pitting later than the leaders. They just kind of have to hope that the leaders are going to get caught up, or the former leaders, I should say. But I'm looking right now at the track in front of Owens and Matt Novella, and it's just wide open. There's nobody in front of them. They are dropping the hammer. I didn't get a good, clean look to see what kind of traffic Amato was running with, but it looks like they got a pretty good lead over that 28. Yeah, Amato's about 10 seconds back from Owens. Yeah, just kind of waiting for this thing to even out as all these drivers. Ooh, a little bit of contact back there behind the 951. As we see Bolinder and Swindle not touch. Now you got Chris Cornette out there praying for a caution. This is where it's going to get tricky as you see these faster cars with fresh tires catching up on these guys trying to push this run, praying for that caution.
Yeah, even in some top tier leagues, it still happens. The guys get ran over on fresh tires, so it can happen, and sometimes it does.
Oh yeah, and frustration can even be a part of it too. I mean, we saw earlier in the race, somebody got tapped, and then the very next series of turns, they tapped them right back. And then speaking of tires, I mean, we just straight up saw one incident where a guy decided to try the outside line, but he was just not up to speed, and that caused the spin against the 28 of Amato as he just misjudged the entry speed on that outside line.
Yeah, Owen's doing a great job on the fresher set of tires. He's been able to keep that lead he had off a pit exit, or even increase it now for Matt Novella. But like Jared said, seems like Matt has a little bit better longer run speed. So if this stays green, to see if Matt can close the gap, and as the 951 needs to pit sooner or later, and the leaders cycle back out.
Well,
Yeah,
he's got about 10 laps.
Yeah, something I've been looking at. Colin Bollinger pitted there on lap 123. He can make it to the end. He's ahead of David Owens and Matt Novella by almost 3 seconds. He's actually ahead of the race leaders and could cycle through to be the leader and give maybe David Owens a hard time passing and maybe try and hold on for this victory.
I mean, Colin did win last week at Sonoma. Not going to be a surprise to see that guy fighting for that pole position. He's got to win. He's got a stage win. I mean, he's one of your stronger drivers, only 27 points back in the standing as well. Colin Bollinger definitely a strong candidate for a victory here today at Milwaukee.
Great catch there, Jared, on that strategy there from the number 8. He's going to try to pull his own version of the number 8 that we try to see Kyle Busch do on at Michigan. But let's see if he has better luck holding off David Owens in the 11 as this race winds down here with 22 laps to go.
Yeah,
Well,
I was hoping Kyle Busch would win. I like booing that guy. You can't boo him when he's down.
The one thing I'm looking at is with the 6 and the 88, you got 2 cars separating the race leader to David Owens that David Owens has to try and go through. One of those guys still yet to pit, granted, but I think it was the 88 of Steve Lewis up there and gonna maybe be in the way.
Yeah, but Steve Lewis is one of one of his buddies there, so I don't think he'll give him too hard a time. As 6 brings it down in, he finally pits, and now that leaves David Owens with 1 car to pass to get to the number 8.
I see driver chat from Chris Cornett. Wouldn't be surprised if that means he's coming down soon. Oh yeah, look up there. You can see that 97 is just making himself a nuisance, as there's a little bit of difficulty Bollinger trying to get around the 97 of Swingle.
Well, and Swingle, I think, is another one of those teammates to David Owens, so maybe purposely trying to make it difficult.
Well, it looks like he got clear. Steve Owens and Swingle kind of attached right there as they're in between right now, Owens. But I think that was a really good catch about Bollinger, because he's clear of those 2
Oh, the 97 is
cars.
trying to pit, and David Owens gets into him.
Into rest, and let's see if it's going to cause a caution. It looks like we're going to stay green, but
Oh, I
Owens
guess,
not happy.
Just
Not
imagine
going to
the
be
chat.
happy. Let's go to the radio and see what he says. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, we don't want to hear that on TV. A lot of swearing I can imagine coming out of that 11 back to his crew chief right now about his teammate in the 97. Colin Bollinger running strong right now.
Bollinger, is the 8 coming in? Oh, the 8's having to come in.
Oh, and that makes Colin Bollinger your new leader, the 53, and he's got Owens chasing him down. Steve Lewis still in the middle of all of this. Fast Louie right now separating the 2 leaders. Let's say how hard or easy he makes it for the 11 to go around. You know, I could see trying to not let the leader go by me to stay on that lead lap. But once you go down that lap, it's kind of fruitless to continue to push, especially when you got 2 leaders right there battling. Steve Lewis still hesitant to get out of the way as we find themselves going in there, and Lewis is still running that preferred line as Owens is trying to close the gap on the 53 of Bollinger.
Yeah, David's kind of been overdriving the exit of these corners. We've seen him lose up in the wall that time.
Oh, he's hit the wall. He's run into Swingle. I would imagine at this point Owens' blood pressure is pretty high, and that microphone has probably got a little bit of moisture on it, as Owens has probably got a stream of consciousness coming out of his mouth into the mic at his crew.
Man, Matt, looked like Matt gained a ton of time there with that mistake, but then kind of got it back up over a 2-second lead. But
What
I think
is this? Steve Lewis going under the leader, letting Owens catch up as we're coming in. Lewis gets bumped, and that's going to do it. Oh my word!
Oh, but here comes Steve Lewis back. Overcooks it. Oh my.
That was a close one. I'll make David change his shorts.
Oh, David's still loose there. Coming off exit. He's pushing it for all he can. Can Bollinger make it, Jared, the 53?
Yeah,
think the
53
57.
can make it.
Okay, I was mistaken earlier. It was not the 8, so sorry to everybody there.
What a run right here by
Yeah,
these guys,
14
ladies and gentlemen.
14 to go. 14 laps here at the Milwaukee Mile. Owens, did he overcook the tires? Does he have enough tire left to make a clean pass on the 53? It sure looks like he can, but let's see if the 53 has any tricks up his sleeve there to counter as the Owens looks underneath.
Well, I don't want to make anybody nervous, but here comes Richard Swingle on fresh tires again. I think Owens might be a little hesitant to let that man get close to him. As we see them going into that turn hard, 53 with a little bit of a wiggle, and the 11 right on him. What a great racing here on a Wednesday night in Milwaukee.
I have something that tells me there might be contact if David feels impatient.
Oh, Owens is in the top 3 of incident points. I would not be surprised to see a little bit of something happen. But Colin Bollinger, he won last week at
he's loose.
Sonoma.
Holds on to it. Has to backpedal that car. Oh, Nelly. Lost a ton of time, man. Can Owens drive back to the bumper of Bollinger, the rookie?
And here comes his good buddy, Richard Swingle, who bumped him earlier. What's Swingle going to do as he comes up on these drivers? You know, Swingle is a lap down, first car lap down. And he shoots by Owens, splitting the leaders. Incredible audacity by the lap down driver.
David not happy on the radio. He's like, we're battling for the lead. Don't be getting up in this.
Especially since he almost got wrecked by the 97 earlier. You got to be wondering at this point. I mean, it's the brass ones on Swingle.
He throws up the 53. That might open the door for Owens.
That looked like contact. 97. He's I'm just here to race. And look at Owens holding it down on the apron. Let's see if Bollinger can bring it back down.
Let's see. He might need to get to the back bumper here.
Here we go. He's on that back bumper. I'll tell you what. How do you go from being my friend to my enemy back to being my friend in 10 laps? Well, it's Richard Swingle just showed you how to do it there with David Owens.
It looked like Colin lifted there on the back straightaway. Didn't want to get too close to the bumper of David Owens. Maybe get into the back of him.
I don't blame him. Owens has been driving that car like a go-kart, just swerving it left and right so hard. We've seen him hit the apron. We've seen him hit the wall. We saw him hit Swingle. I mean, shoot. I think they tell him to go hit the pace car. It just looks perfect. Amazing racing here as we're looking at them come around on lap 146. A few laps here left to go in Milwaukee. Owens with the lead, trying to hold off against last week's winner, the 53, Colin Bollinger. Matt Novella, he's about a second behind that group with a good lead over McWhorter in fourth and Robert Richards in fifth. 5 seconds behind that, Babcock sixth, Kyle Lynott 7, Cornette running 8th, Andrew Bolander after that late pit still holding 9th, and Joseph Amato in the 28th. That's going to round off your top 10.
Yeah, Owen should have this thing wrapped up in the bag if he can just keep the 4 tires on the ground and pointed the straight right way here. Is looks like he had just enough tire to get out past the old 53 there.
I'll tell you what, that man was piloting that car like an ace. If you ask him how he saw everything, he'll probably tell you because he was inverted, looking like Top Gun Maverick out there. What a run by that 11 right now. If he can just keep it on the track, I think this man is going to get his first win of the year. Lap 149 in the book. 53 trying to make a run. I don't think he's going to have the juice as we're on the back stretch coming around to the final turn.
We have the 45 of Sneal up ahead. Maybe be some lap traffic there. 53 gets really wide on entry, kind of late apex, and trying to get the best run off he can. But no, it's going to take something out of the ordinary here to throw the 11 off on its track to win its first race of the season. Everybody else pretty strung out there, huh, Mean Gene?
I think so. We're seeing some pretty clean racing. Nobody's making an aggressive move at this point. If you're dialed into that top 10, you just wanted your points. Not going to do anything silly. Not going to try to make an enemy here over 14th position. Run here today by Owens. That car is just running strong. Once he got clear of that traffic, he was able to dial that thing in and had enough tire to just peel it through. Almost looks like they're moving in slow motion now that they're single file spread out, considering how quickly they were moving side by side. Mile track seems a lot longer when
I
there's
don't
not
know.
people next to you.
I mean, it's not over, but 53's putting a little bit more pressure on him.
He's trying to close that gap, but Owens is notorious for just dialing in that line. You can see 53 came in a little bit low, hits that apron right there. Meanwhile, Owens is like a machine just running that same line. I think the biggest obstacle David Owens is going to tell you is probably his own teammate who swerved in for that pit stop. Really looking smooth. You can just see him running that same line, hugging that apron.
All right, David Owens takes a white flag this last time by.
53 coming in hard and low, but then he just runs into the apex and it pushes him out. On the backstretch, they got 2 more turns to go, ladies and gentlemen. David Owens with a nice half-second lead. 53 closes the gap. He thinks he's Austin Dillon, but he's not. And Owens is going to come through turn 4, holding that line.
Owens is going to pick it up, but we got a little bit of battle here.
Bang! David Owens is going to be your winner here at Milwaukee. As we look back, we can see other cars fighting for position. What was the flagman's name?
It's Barney.
Barney, putting a workout. Look at him resting. He's resting, waiting for the next car. What a run, as we can see our top 3 bringing it down to victory lane.
Had a good little battle there at the end there. A couple cars later in the pack. There from all around.
So David Owens, our points leader, is now going to get to put a race winner into his resume as he finds himself in the lead. Matt Novella, he was 13th in points. You know that that's going to pump him up with that 3rd place finish. And Bollinger, I'll tell you what, 14 spots after last week's Sonoma win, and he is going to bump up even more with today, getting that big 2nd place win. And here comes Owens. He's going to do it. He's going to spin it in that Mountain Dew 11. Look like a spider monkey on Mountain Dew. He's just tearing up that Governor's Cup.
Hey, Mean Gene. Looks like we got a couple drivers entering the broadcast booth for some interviews. Looks like we'll start off with the 2nd place P2. That's going to be Colin Bollinger there, number 53. Go ahead. Mean
Colin
Gene.
Bollinger, G Money here. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. I got to tell you what, I'm doing better after watching that heck of a race that you two guys had. I mean, you win last week, you come back this week, you pull in a 2nd place. I mean, you're just jumping up in the points standing. You went up 14 points last week. Who knows how many you're going to go up after today's race. Tell me, going into the end, do you think you had enough to chase down that 11, or were you just holding on for position?
Well, I mean, ideally we weren't trying to give him the first place spot there at the end, but yeah, I thought I was kind of reeling him in, but I don't know. Every time I gained a 10th, he kind of gained it back, and we stayed for the last 10 laps about 4 tenths apart. But the plan was to stay in front of him, and a lap car kind of got in the way, and we moved me off the ideal line I wanted. But it was still a good run, and I'm happy with the point stay for sure.
You talk about the lapped car. I'm really curious. That 97, when he was trying to get back on that lead lap, he got really close to that left side of your car. Any comment?
Oh no, he was just doing what he was, trying to get a lap back and hope for a caution. I get it. It just sucks because I felt like I was pretty far down to the bottom line, and he kind of still forced his way in there. But he was trying to do what he had to do, so I'm not mad. It just, I think if that doesn't happen, I think I might be able to hold off the 11 there.
I'll tell you what, that 97 though, he went from being best friends with David Owens to being a big enemy, straight back to being best friends. I think when he cut back under you. Really good race. I want to thank you. I'm sure the fans want to thank you, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do next week.
Thank you.
David Owens, I got you in the channel.
Yes, sir.
All right. Actually, I tell you what, David. I'm going to talk to Mr. Matt Novella first, and I can come back to you if that's okay.
That works.
Matt, are you there?
Yes, Jerry. How we doing?
Oh my God, I'm doing great after seeing that race. My friend, you were up in the front almost the entire race, found yourself pushed back in the middle of it, battled back, and then all of a sudden you see this 53 car coming out of nowhere. Tell me, what's the biggest moment you take away from that race as far as your position?
I'd say the biggest moment maybe in the middle of stage 2. You know, got stuck on the outside. Ended up falling back to 10th, almost 11th. You know, finally got in line, just stayed with it, dug down, and was able to battle back to, was a P3 there for that stage 2? So
Yes.
That was good.
So how did that happen? Because you and David Owens both found yourself back in 9th and 10th at that one moment in the race. Were there people that just chose not to pit? Was there some no tires, only gas strategy? What?
Yeah, there was definitely some different strategies going on. Some people taking tires, some people staying out. We only took fuel only on that one just to make sure we were good to the end of the stage. But some cautions helped out some of the other guys that stayed out. But all in all, it turned out to be some good racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, you were 13th in points going into this race. You were 47 points behind Owens, who won. That's not going to help you much, but I think we're going to see a little bit higher than 13th place as we go into there. I want to thank you again, man. Great race, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do next week and the rest of the year.
Thanks, Jared. You too. Appreciate it.
And then there was one, and that man got first. David Owens, tell me, my brother, how do you feel?
It feels amazing. This win puts me in the chase. So got that monkey off the back early. Now I can just go race for the rest of the season chasing playoff points.
It's funny that you mentioned that. You were the point leader going into this race and had no wins, but my gosh, you had collected a ton of stage points with that one stage when you had a couple of weeks ago. But now the monkey's off your back. The 11 is finding itself in victory lane. Was there doubts though? I mean, there was a moment when you're burning those tires. I mean, you're leaving tracks back there like you're on a dirt track, and you got 2 lap cars in between you and the 53. Was there a moment of doubt and tribulation in your head?
Absolutely, man. I feel like I dominated this race, and it comes down to that. I guess he took 2 tires there at the end and tried to undercut me, and I thought that was it. I didn't think I was going to have enough time to catch him. He had 4.5 seconds on me, so I was like, it's time to hot lap it. So I just put it down, just qualifying lap is all I decided to run. And I was like, well, if I catch him and I burnt the stuff up, it's going to come down to who's got the bumper there.
Well, it seemed like you had contact with a few people. Swingle definitely tapped you at one point coming into the pits. I think he also got that 53. I saw you tap the wall at one point on that little last chase, but you did have one of the fastest cars. I think Alex McQuarter had the fastest lap. I can't confirm that right now, but you had the fastest lap leading up to that, and we knew if you could get that open air that you'd make a chase. That last pit stop, you had to be really happy to come back on the track and just see that open air in front of you. Tell me about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the fresh air, the clean air out in front definitely helps with these cars. I was able to focus in and just be able to click off lap after lap, trying to catch down the 53 there. I knew when he pitted, I had to pit the very next lap to make sure that undercut wasn't too big for us. So, but I was able to get it done and get back to him.
That open air just seemed like it helped so many drivers. There seemed to be a preferred line definitely during this race, and anybody who went high accidentally coming in too hot would lose 2-3 positions at a time. But I got to commend you, David. Didn't see you do that. It looked like you came in just that right angle, and you were able to power through that thing and lead that number 11 Mountain Dew car to victory. Congratulations, my friend. Heck of a race.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys, and thank you for you two being up here in the booth. Couldn't do it without you guys, and excited to see what else y'all bring for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. David Owens, your winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the Milwaukee Mile race here MRL Wednesday night Xfinity Series Race 4 of 13 in the books as we see our points leader David Owens take that win and can guarantee himself a point into the championship race. As we're getting ready to leave, KK, what do you got for us?
It's just a pleasure being up here in the booth with you, Mean Gene, and then a big shout out and to Jared Kelly for coming up and helping us out tonight after his race ended shortly, but really appreciate him doing that. And yeah, just thanks for bearing with us on our first broadcast back in over, I think it's been over a year or so for me, so it's been a while. So we'll get this thing straightened out, and if you guys have any comments or anything like that, just go ahead and shoot me a message and go from there. But that's it, Mean Gene. Just God bless you guys, and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Have a great night, everybody. God bless America, and God bless you. Good night.